what's going on, everybody? Welcome, bienvenidos to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Of course, I am your host, Tits McGee. And on today's program, you guys, we have a plethora of topics to discuss and to tackle. But first, I want to thank you all very specifically for y'all smiling faces, for being up here in the place. Of course, you know, Burn It Down with Kim Brown is a safe space where we can set oppression ablaze. And we know that a better thing is possible. And guys, there's a lot of shit that we need to incinerate on this here today's program. Okay, coming up, I wanted to talk about, first of all, if you haven't done it already, do me a favor. What's up, Chuck Diesel? Chuck Diesel is up in the comments section already giving people fantastic advice. So if you have not already hit that like and that subscribe, and if you extra gully with it, you go on and hit that notification button, that little bell, just so you can make sure that you are in step here with us at the Fire Fam here on the Burn It Down with Kim Brown channel. We appreciate all the support. We've got over 2,000 subscribers, 2,000 arsonists, or something like that. A lot of people that have been signing up to rock with us. So again, you guys, we can't overstate it that we appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Jonathan Stewart, who just Cash Apped us $10. If that is John Stewart of The Daily Show, we appreciate that 10. And slap another zero on that, John. John Stewart, you got bread. What's happening? But if it's just a regular Jonathan Stewart, and if you broke, we appreciate that $10, Jonathan Stewart. And I'm not even trying to call you broke. Let me just shut up. Thank you. Let me just leave it there. Coming up on today's show, everybody. So I know y'all think COVID is over and done with. I know y'all think that y'all have finished with COVID, but I'm here to let y'all know that COVID is not yet done with us. The Delta variant is of some concern, okay? Now, despite the fact that a lot of people in this country have been vaccinated, a lot of people have not been vaccinated. And the health professionals are tremendously concerned that the Delta variant is going to exclusively kill people who are unvaccinated. Now, the problem is the CDC and the World Health Organization are giving a bit of conflicting advice when it comes to how fully vaccinated people should operate indoors. One says that even if you're fully vaccinated, you should wear masks. Another says nothing. They haven't said any guidance about what fully vaccinated people should do in light of this Delta variant when you are inside around other people. And I'll let y'all guess who is who in that scenario. Who said wear masks indoors for vaccinated people and who ain't said shit? That's later on the show. We're also going to discuss the issue of climate change, but y'all, from the lens and from the prism of what has been happening in the Pacific Northwest. I know we have some family. We have some of our comrades, our Burn It Down comrades out there in the Northwest. I know Franny French is out there in the Northwest. I know some other people. I think Black Magic, that's her section of the country. Y'all, the temps have been binoculars. And who do you think is suffering the most under this climate disaster? It is a climate catastrophe when Portland, Oregon is 114 fucking degrees in June. All right. It is Black people. It is brown people. It is indigenous people. It is the unhoused. And this is absolutely an environmental injustice issue. And I want us to talk about that because that's important, right? But first, guys, what's up, Courtney the SLP? What's up, Pimp C? What's up, Radical Leftist Agenda? What's up, Anna Hart? What's up, Tyler? Who else we got up in here? Everybody's up in here. David Silberg, what's going on? Ray the Sun in the building. Chauncey 100, what's up, my G? We got a lot of our folks up in here today. I'm always happy to see that. And guys, I'm glad you all are here because the thing that we're going to lead off with is very important because we need to say her name and say all Black women's names who have been victims, who have been murdered by the pigs, by the state, by everybody. Thank you so much, Toby Swoley. Thank you so much for your support, honey. I appreciate that. I wanted to talk to you guys today about Korryn Gaines. Hopefully Korryn Gaines is a name that you know. On August 1st, 2016, Korryn Gaines was in her home with her 5-year-old son, and Korryn for reasons I still don't understand, had an arrest warrant out for her for a traffic violation. And for reasons I also don't understand, Baltimore County Police sent the fucking SWAT unit, or they sent a tactical unit to her home to arrest her for this traffic ticket. Now, Korryn, being the militant Black woman that she was, but sensible at the same time, Korryn had her shotty with her. And when the cops came through her door, she pointed it at them. She didn't shoot at them. She pointed it at them. And she told them to get out. And after that, hours-long standoff between she and Baltimore County Police, Korryn ended up dead. Her son ended up injured by police gunfire. As a result, it's really hard to talk about, y'all, what I think about this woman and what she endured and the long-term harassment that she had been experiencing from city and county police. That's notwithstanding the fact of the matter. At the end of the day, Korryn Gaines was murdered by the state. So after a trial, the officer who was charged, pardon me, the officer was never charged in Korryn's case. In fact, the officer was never even fired. In fact, the officer, who is now a corporal, his name is Royce Ruby, remains on the force in Baltimore County and has never been held accountable in any sort of way. It doesn't appear that he was ever disciplined. Like I said, he's been promoted. Okay. And after a couple of subsequent trials, a jury awarded Korryn's family $38 million judgment because they found that Royce Ruby was complicit in her death, right? The jury found that the police used excessive force. No charges again were filed. So a judge threw out that $38 million verdict, but it was reinstated July of last year. And to this day, Baltimore County has not paid a single cent of this judgment, which I believe most of it is going to her son. So that just goes to show you, when we talk about what getting justice out of this system actually looks like for Black people, I mean, honey, we can have a judgment in hand and still be you feel me? And still be uncompensated at the end of this. I want you guys to take a look really quick. Hold on, where should I go with this? Actually, Tunde, could you pop up the flyer? Because the reason I'm talking about this, guys, is because tomorrow at the Baltimore County Circuit Courthouse in Towson, Maryland, if you're in the area, I know we got some DMVers. Let me not even say DMV, because I know Baltimore, y'all don't consider yourself part of the DMV. Baltimore is Baltimore and not part of the DMV. And I respect that. And that works for me, Baltimore. Y'all do y'all. Who else? Somebody just dropped us some bread. Who dropped us some bread here? Franny French. Thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much for that. So tomorrow there is an action. And it's being brought primarily by Korryn's attorney. Oh, Jesus. What's his name? Genevieve. I forgot that fast. Jay Wendell. It's not Jay Wendell Gordon. Is it Jay Wendell Gordon? Her attorney is having an action at the Baltimore County Courthouse in Towson tomorrow. Al Sharpton's going to be there. So, you know, it's going to be some press. They're actually going to have a press conference. It starts tomorrow at 9:00. They want to bring attention to the fact that Baltimore County has not paid Korryn Gaines' family her settlement, and there has been no punishment for the officer who killed her. And like I said, if you are in the Baltimore County area, try your best to show up there at 9:00. And because Korryn Gaines' story really affected people not only across the country, but very specifically in Baltimore. Like, people really felt that, because people held and still hold her same sentiments towards police and the way that they engage in Black communities. I love Korryn in her spirit because she didn't mince words at all. She called a pig oink. You feel me? Like, she never, ever wavered from her militancy which of course is a threat to the state, despite the fact that she was in her house, minding her motherfucking business, telling them to leave her alone. And I want you guys to listen really quick to this account from Korryn's mom. She spoke to theroot.com last year via like a Skype interview. And this was actually the first time that I've actually heard her mom not only talk very personally and intimately about Korryn, but also give her firsthand accounting of the events that transpired that day, that August 1st, 2016 in Randallstown, Maryland, when she was there on the scene when Baltimore County cops killed her daughter and shot her grandson. This is from theroot.com. Tune, if we could take a look at that, please.
Korryn was feisty from a little girl. She was like, she liked to be the center of attention, and she just commanded a room. I mean, very early on. She loved to read. I still have all her books, at least most of them. And she was accepted into Morgan State University. And so she didn't stay the whole time. She was there for maybe a semester, and that's when she found she was pregnant with Cody. Then she chose to go into cosmetology, which she really did well at. The most important thing was her becoming a mom. You could see it in every photo that she took with her children. You could see the love. She had an emotional breakdown. There were some things that were going on in her life that she couldn't attend to on her own. At that time, I was a psych nurse, and I had taken her to my hospital. She wouldn't stop crying. She couldn't get herself together. I can remember her calling me, she was crying on the phone, and I told her I was on my way to her. To say she really had a psych history, no, that's not what it was. She had an emotional break. Well, she hadn't had the medication since she found out she was pregnant with Carson, and she still hadn't had any in her system on the date of, her being killed.
The death of Korryn Gaines sparked outrage nationwide. Baltimore County police shot and killed the mother after a 6-hour standoff.
When I first got there, so I almost immediately walked up to them with the doctor available on the phone. I just, told them, I said, this is her therapist, a psychiatrist. The officer took the phone out of my hand, cut the conversation off, and said, we'll contact anybody when he needs to. And then proceeded to take my phone. When I tell people that, they think I'm lying. They took my phone. They communicated with her as though they were me. They communicated with my family as though they were me. Because I didn't get my phone back until the 3rd of August. It was about 8 family members there. They told me if they let me speak or communicate with her, it gives a finality to the situation. Like, people can just end it for themselves because they feel like, they've communicated with one last person, because she was by herself.
I'm at peace. I'm in my home. I ain't trying to hurt nobody.
Some of her family members had phones, and they were like following her on Facebook Live, and it said the live stream was cut. So as I exited the building, and it was a little hill, I saw the commanding officer coming back up. And I said, what's going on? I said, where's my baby? And he just said, she's gone. And I said, what do you mean, you killed her? And I remember hitting the ground, but I recovered so quick because he said, my grandson, he said, your grandson was also shot too. I still have the scars on my knees till now. As how hard I hit the concrete. But I sprung back up when he said that Cody had been injured. While all of that was going on, my family members, it was awful to see them. They were pulling up in their cars, literally falling out in the street because they couldn't believe that she was, that she had been killed. If she was a white girl, I think things would have been different. I think they would have handled her differently. They would have probably not taken her out to Burger King, but I think she would have walked out. I think she would have walked out and she would still be here.
Powerful words right there from Korryn Gaines' mother. Again, that was her speaking to theroot.com last year when it was announced that the $38 million award settlement that her family won from Baltimore County would be reinstated after it got thrown out. I mean, y'all, it was a big back and forth around here. Like what was going to happen to this woman's family? Like, are they going to see justice? And as you guys hear from Korryn's mother, I mean, there's so many layers, like so many intersections in which Korryn stood at, right? Like that, like she was a Black woman murdered by police, very vocal in her mistrust and dislike of the police. Who amongst us ain't that, right? I'm glad her mother clarified that Korryn did not have necessarily a history of documented mental illness, but she had some emotional problems. Now, some people might say those are one and the same, and perhaps they are. But this is, again, why me personally, again, I'm a little reluctant to not necessarily to seek mental health help. But once you get a diagnosis, that's what they call you, right? That's what they label you as. Like, even if you go, like, it's such a double-edged sword and a big marker of hypocrisy in our society, where we tell people, you know, please go seek help if you're having psychological problems or if you feel as if you're having, you know, some emotional instability. But as soon as they do, and some shit kick off and you not having a good day, you might get loud and somebody call the police on you. Oh, what is she? This, that, and the third. She psychotic and depressed and I mean, it usually reads as a laundry list as why police ended up taking and using deadly force against somebody, right? Which is, again, why you should never, ever call the police on somebody who's having a mental health crisis. Call anybody else but the fucking cops. Okay. But for Korryn's mother to also detail about how the social media aspect of Korryn's murder, how Facebook was basically complicit in silencing her side of the experience with Baltimore County police. The fuck was that about? And the cops, very dastardly, underhanded tactics of stealing her mother's phone. Stealing! Let me put that clear. They might have given it back to her 2 days later, as she said. But initially, when they took it from her hand and pretended to be her in communications with Korryn and pretended to be her in communications with other family members, as she said, that is theft, okay? That is impersonation. That is some element of fraud. And the police did all this, killed a woman in her home, shot a child, a 5-year-old, and no charges filed, none whatsoever. So what does justice look like for Black people in America when it comes to the police? A reminder, again, that this Derek Chauvin shit regarding what happened with George Floyd is an anomaly. It is an outlier. It is not the status quo. It is not what usually happens when Black people and brown people and indigenous people are murdered by police. Usually not shit happens. And even with what happened with Korryn, with her family being awarded this $38 million. If the county doesn't pay it, then what? Ain't shit will happen, right? Her son will still be owed this money in perpetuity. And let me be specific also. In this area, for reasons, I don't know, Baltimore City especially, and Baltimore County, I guess now, have a bad habit of being sued for police violence, police brutality, and police misconduct, judgments being awarded against Baltimore City police, and the city just refusing to pay it, right? And if this is not a picture perfect example as to why qualified immunity needs to get the fuck on, if these cops and these jurisdictions and these police departments refuse to pay out judgments issued by juries and courts, then they are placing themselves above the law. They have no, if the legal system is not going to hold them accountable, and they are not being made criminally accountable, and they're not being held to any financial accountability, that's why qualified immunity has to go. Okay? Because you attach that $38 million to Baltimore County Corporal Royce Ruby's salary, pension, future earnings. I I bet you that motherfucker would think twice before he goes arbitrarily shooting at women and children indiscriminately. What's up, Prince of Judah? Yes, Prince of Judah 79 says Fraternal Order of Police got the funds to pay. You goddamn right they do, shawty. But who ends up paying, right? That $38 million, the reason why the Baltimore County executive has not paid a penny of it, because he knows it's going to be Baltimore County residents paying that. Baltimore County Police not going to lose no sleep, no funds cut from their budget. Shit will go on as usual. With Officer Royce Ruby still on the job, still very much on the force. What's up, Afraid Not? That's right. No, that Ray said the trigger finger will not be itchy then. But you know, I mean, as pointed out, y'all, I mean, the Fraternal Order of Police, they have been fighting all of this, of course, under the guise of police reform. Listen, if the so-called police reform does not include loss of qualified immunity for police officers, then it's not reform, baby. It's just some warmed over bullshit, probably suggested by some former cop, right? Who they usually trot out as police reform experts or consultants, right? Follow Lisa McCrae, y'all, on Twitter, because Lisa be frying these niggas all the time. But the one of Baltimore's many former police commissioners, his name is Ed Norris. This motherfucker got caught up in all kinds of criminal activities. And this motherfucker's on the radio and on local Baltimore television regularly giving his expert opinion on how to reform police. Nigga, if you don't get the whole fuck out of here. Anyway, guys, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Baltimore County Circuit Courthouse in Towson. If you're local, show up for Korryn Gaines. If not, follow. I'm sure there's going to be a hashtag. Follow the hashtag and be sure to tweet about it. At least bring some attention to this and put the pressure on the Baltimore County executive to pay out this money that Korryn's family is owed and deserved and has been awarded by courts, and to encourage prosecution or at least fire the nigga, the motherfucker who got shot and killed her, for God's sakes. And that kind of makes me mad too, because I know sometimes when there are these police involved murders, fuck a shooting, police involved murders, some police departments will take swift action to fire the officer, right? And to me, that is a lot of nothing. But when I'm looking at Korryn's case, well, fuck, maybe it is something, right? At minimum, the cop is off the job, not posing a danger to public safety ongoing, at least, you know, not via taxpayer dollars. So now I'm rethinking whether or not I think firing cops is actually a step. It is a step. It is a small step. And I'm so disappointed, but unsurprised that Baltimore County Police Department decided to keep this officer on staff so he can still earn probably a very nice salary. Probably doesn't even live in Baltimore County would be my guess, because none of these motherfuckers want to live for some reason in the areas in which they police. Make it make sense. I'm not really sure. But you guys, you know, one thing that was interesting about Korryn's story, if you really sort of delve into, you know, her life, she was a victim of lead poisoning, right, in Baltimore City. I'm sure maybe in a city near you, right? Detroit, Chicago, where else they had lead poisoning real bad at? Philly, New York. And we know what lead poisoning does to a young developing mind. It opens up the opportunity for impulsive behaviors, for behaviors that eventually could be misconstrued and labeled as either dysfunctional or rebellious or shit that usually ends up getting Black kids involved in the criminal justice system somehow, some way. And Korryn, that happened to Korryn also. And that is just one example of how environmental injustice, the way that Black and brown people are particularly subjected to poisonous elements in the environment, through the water, through the air, through food, through being in proximity to pollutant sort of agents. I'm thinking of the Cancer Highway in Louisiana, where all these oil refineries up and down the state, the cancer clusters that happen in and around that area. And there's a lot of areas like that, y'all. And all of this is in a bigger picture as it relates to how we are going to survive. I can't even call it the coming climate disaster, bitch. We are in the climate disaster. Voila, it is here. And one example, the 2021 example of this has everything to do with the heat wave that has really fried the Pacific Northwest over the past several days, y'all. Hold on, let me get my shit out here real quick, because PNW, Portland, Washington State, Oregon, Montana. I know Northern California caught a little bit of it, but not like Oregon did. Jesus Christ. They just fried Oregon to shit. Do me a favor, Tunde, pop up B1 for me. Pop it up full screen if you're able to, either the tweet or the photo, whichever is more convenient. But atmospheric scientist and Washington, D.C. based meteorologist, his name was Matthew Capucci. He tweeted this the other day. He said, insane highs forecast for the Pacific Northwest today. This was, I think, 2 days ago. Seattle, 111 degrees. Yakima, Washington, 112. Portland, 114 degrees. Whole degrees, not half degrees, big degrees, huge degrees. Factored, listen, do the conversion, the math conversion, make that shit into Celsius. It will blow your mind. 44 degrees Celsius, somewhere in there. Lord have mercy. And not only are these record temperatures that no one has ever seen or recorded in the history of ever, let that sink in. It has never, ever been that hot in Portland, in Washington State. In fact, in Seattle, the National Weather Service had tweeted that this week, Seattle had experienced, I believe, 3 consecutive days at 100 degrees or more, the first time that has ever happened. This shit is bad. Climate disaster happening right fucking now, y'all. And listen, it is quite apparent that nobody is coming to help. Okay, let's be crystal clear on that. If you think Joe Biden and his White House and his Environmental Protection Agency are about to do anything substantial to stem this or to reverse this in any way, you are mistaken. But I know y'all watch my show, so y'all already know not to expect shit from the Biden administration, nor from this democratically controlled Congress. You think a Green New Deal is on the horizon? No, it is not. No, it is not. And let me give you an idea of how differently, I should say, this heat wave, this roast wave that hit Portland and Washington State in the Pacific Northwest, it is hitting people very unevenly. Tunde, if you could pull up, please, for me, B2. Now, look at this video. Now, let me just tell y'all, it's going to be some naked white folks. White folks got naked. They got on their bikes and they started riding through the fountains and doing what I would expect. Tunde, are we showing it? Are we showing it yet? Yes. Yes.
Oh, that feels so good.
Now, that video was shot by Dan Mack at KATU out there in Portland. But let me assure y'all, now, what do y'all think, just randomly? Now, this don't have nothing to do with climate disaster. It has everything to do with being white in America. But how do y'all think a group of Black male cyclists, naked, would have been received in Portland's city center, cycling their glorious naked selves through the fountain, trying to beat the heat? I'd say Portland Police Department would have responded with tasers and bullets and not gave a fuck. They probably would have been trying to tase wet black men, naked black men on those cycles. I just wanted to point that out as to how very differently we elect to beat the heat, and whether or not the rules for what is acceptable are applied evenly across racial lines, which of course we do not. I just wanted to point that out. So that was how white folks are beating the heat. Franny French, I know you wasn't out there naked cycling through the fountains. But to give you a bit of a contrast, guys, I want you to take a look at this package. This package is from KOIN 6 News. And again, as I encourage you all to always do, is to please view local news from a very skeptical perspective as to what they highlight and how they frame things. But this package illustrates what some unhoused people are doing to try to beat the heat out there in Portland. It doesn't sound as though the city is stepping up for people very much at all. I'm not sure about the state of Oregon as a whole. I'm not sure so much about Seattle and Washington State. But this is what's happening in Portland. And like I said, this is from KOIN 6 News. And just take a look at this.
Oh, and no doubt about it, it's been a tough day outside for those who don't have air conditioning or who are homeless.
Hot weather is kind of burning people up.
Elliot Hardy escaped the heat on the MAX train Sunday afternoon.
It's hot in Portland right now.
He says he's homeless, adding that for many, it's been very challenging to stay cool during the dangerous heat wave.
Homeless people are kind of burning up.
Even before TriMet announced it was suspending MAX service, Elliot told us there were signs of trouble.
And the trains are not on time, and I got to wait about an hour and a half on buses today.
All MAX service suspended. There's not going to be more service trains, so your best bet is going to be a bus. And I apologize for being inconvenienced.
That announcement was how some riders found out that service was shutting down until Tuesday. TriMet spokesperson Tyler Graff says the historic high temperatures were severely straining the power grid and the overhead wires that power the trains.
The MAX system it's designed to operate up to 110 degrees. But even then, as temperatures are rising, puts more and more strain on the system. And today we saw that our overhead wires were up to 120 degrees and our rail was at 140 degrees. So we had reached that threshold at which it was really just not becoming, or it was not safe or effective for us to continue running MAX trains.
Even when service resumes, continued high temperatures forecast in the 90s could continue to impact riders.
If that holds true, then there will continue to be most likely some delays throughout the MAX system because we will have to run.
Portland Streetcar also tweeted this pic stating that it was canceling service for the day as well, adding, "Here's what the heat is doing to our power cables." Elliot explained how he planned to beat the heat with the MAX trains out of service.
Get back on the bus.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm probably going to walk down the Rose Quarter.
He's going to get back on the bus to try to get some relief from the 110 plus degree temperatures that have been plaguing Portland, Oregon over the past several days. That young man was unhoused. And I saw a video of a Portland resident who had like a handheld thermometer as they were walking the streets. And the temperatures coming off the asphalt were north of 140 degrees. I think he said he saw a big spike of like 165. And the unhoused person that we just saw in that clip, I mean, y'all, they shut the trains down. He was riding the trains to beat the heat, but the heat was so intense, it shut the trains down. So he had to get on the bus. And there are so much cascading failures in that small clip alone. Just thinking about unhoused people and shit, people who actually have houses and have places to go in Portland are still suffering tremendously because during research for this story, you guys, about 40% of homes, apartments in Oregon and in the PNW, and PNW people, correct me if I'm wrong, but approximately 40% of houses and apartment buildings do not have HVAC. At least they don't have air conditioning, right? In the rapid development that has happened in Portland and other areas in Oregon and even in Washington, these developers cut a lot of corners. And because of the region's historic coolness in terms of weather-wise, cool summers relatively ish, not like this, right? A lot of places don't have air. Do I got that right? Freddie French? Who else is up there? Surely they are uncomfortable, but they are really suffer when the booms go off. What booms? Let me not dip into the chat and try to catch up because sometimes I don't know what y'all be talking about. But y'all, and hold on, and there's some other shit that I found out as a result of climate change and as it relates to air conditioning units. And did y'all know that air conditioning units are formatted differently depending on what region of the country you live in? So people who have bought these wall units, these window units rather, these AC units, are finding that they are failing. They are fucking up. Like these window AC units that they've been purchasing in the Pacific Northwest are not making the grade because apparently window AC units are manufactured differently depending on region. So if you're below, I don't know, the Mason-Dixon line, or if you're below, if you get like the Texas AC unit ain't doing what, or the Portland AC unit ain't doing what the Texas window AC unit is doing, right? So that's another reason people are suffering. And when you hear that the person who was operating, or the spokesperson for the Portland public transit system talks about, well, first of all, did y'all see the picture of the wires melting? Like, just to give you an idea of how real the shit is, the wires were melted, the overhead wires for the train. Mind-boggling. Totally mind-boggling. Yes, I'm saying mind-boggling on purpose. Yes, because I watch a lot of Will Ferrell movies. Anyway, but the man said when there's more stress on the system, that is putting more stress on the grid, and the grid is not doing impressively, the power grid. And didn't we just see this past winter in Texas, where power grids failed and people died by the dozens? I don't even think they got a final tally of how many Texans actually died during that winter ice storm several months ago. And this is another example of that, just on the flip side. And I know if Pookie Wood was in here, Pookie Wood would tell us that Texas power grid is still fucking up months later, now that the weather is hot. So y'all, what are we to take from this? Let me tell you exactly what you need to take from it. You need to be watching motherfucking Doomsday Preppers, okay? Whatever the fuck them enthusiastic white folks is doing, we need to be doing all that shit, okay? Get your seeds, get your water filtration shit together. You start playing your garden, because guys, when the shit hits the fan on this climate disaster, the United States government will not be present and accounted for. They are not going to show up. And if they show up, they're going to be late and ineffective. And if we don't start to understand that now is the time for us to be preparing ourselves and preparing your families and preparing every aspect of your life for what to do when Mother Nature comes looking for you, Mother Nature about to go run wild like Hulkamania. What you gonna do when Mother Nature goes 114 degrees and drops 8 inches of rain in 2 hours on you? What are you gonna do, shorty? I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I took a small step on Amazon Prime Day, and I'm so embarrassed to even admit that I participated in Amazon Prime Day. God damn it, but I did. But I put myself on a budget. I only spent $43, right? And part of that $43 I spent on a product that I'm not going to name by name because fuck them, they ain't paying me to. But it is a straw that is supposed to be a water filter, right? So no matter what the quality of the water that is in front of you, if you drink it through this straw that has the water filter, then then you're supposed to be good to go. Now that's my tiny step towards trying to make myself available to live off the grid. I don't know. Thank you, honey. I'm so perplexed by this. Toby Swoley, that is an afternoon in Iowa. What, 117 degrees? I can imagine. But in Iowa, Toby, y'all might be a little bit used to that. In Portland, they're not used to this shit. Like, so much so that the roads were buckling, you guys. I mean, this is extreme heat. Even today, temperatures were projected to be in the 90s, which is still like some almost 30 degrees above normal. 30 degrees above normal in the summertime is horrific. Like, that sounds terrible. It's different than 30 degrees above normal in January. You know what I'm saying? If normal is 32 and you're 30 degrees above normal, shit, it's 62. It's nice in January. Shit. 30 degrees above normal in June, July is nothing to play with, people. It is nothing to play with. And Oregon, Portland especially, but unhoused people notwithstanding, people who live in housing units that do not have air conditioning units notwithstanding, y'all, the heat deserts as a result of the redlining in Portland and in other places in Oregon, because we know Oregon's history, founded as a white supremacist state. Jesus Christ. That's the Franny French said I could come out there and visit. I said, she. And I know there's plenty N-words in Portland. I know what it is, but shit, I still be thinking. My brain thinks of America in two ways: clan territory and not clan territory. And I guess to some extent, an argument could be made that all of America is clan territory, and I would be hard pressed to disprove that. However, there are places in America that is known clan territory, and I rank the entire state of Oregon as known clan territory. Howsoever, the point is, redlining, segregated by race, residents of Portland and other cities in Oregon for generations. I would imagine Seattle too, and other places in the PNW. And not unsurprisingly, those redlined or formerly segregated places are heat islands, places where there is not enough tree cover, where there is lots of pavement and concrete, and all that sunshine is just beating into the ground, just being absorbed and making that area notably hotter than some of the surrounding, perhaps more tree affluent suburbs, right? So the whole shit with climate disaster, here's my thing. So it's not going to be felt evenly across race, across economic lines to begin with. But if rich white people think that this shit ain't coming for them, shit. Yes, it is. Because guess where all them 110 plus degree temperatures are at today? They're in Idaho. They are in Montana. And yes, I know everybody in Idaho don't live in Coeur d'Alene or Delane, whatever the shit is. And the people, you know, everybody in Wyoming don't live in Jackson Hole. I get it. But that Kardashian ranch out there in Montana is a little warm today, baby. It's a little bit on the hot side. And if these rich folks thought that they could escape to the mountains, escape to the sticks to get away from climate disaster, they're mistaken. It may be a little bit delayed, but it's coming for them also. But again, just also goes to show you why in the hell Jeff Bezos and them trying so hard to get the fucking Mars, right? Because clearly they know something that we don't. Or perhaps they know that they have an option to leave Earth. Well, the rest of us don't, right? So that is the thing that they know that we do not, that they have the option to leave and we do not. At the same time, I don't even want to think about the amount of money not being paid in taxes by companies like Amazon, like Apple, like Microsoft, like Google, like Tesla, money that perhaps could be going to improve the grid, improve the power grid. In fact, take us off a carbon-based grid altogether, right? if Portland, Oregon is getting sunshine temperatures that can skyrocket up north of 114 degrees, well, shit, where is the solar wind farm? Where's the solar panel farm? Like, we need to be harvesting all this. There's no reason why in the 21st century, in the year 2021, I mean, my gosh, y'all, how many of y'all old enough to remember Demolition Man? Something like that. Or I'm about to fuck y'all up for you really old heads out there. Do y'all remember a show that used to come on Fox, like Channel 5 Fox, not like Fox News, but Fox around the time, it may have been around the In Living Color time. It was a TV show called Alien Nation, and it was a spinoff of the movie. I think Mandy Patinkin actually started the movie, but they did a television spinoff, and the aliens came down and was, you know, integrated with people. And anyway, go down some line. But anyway, technology wise, I think the show was like based in 1995 or something like that, or 2005. We was way ahead of where the fuck we are now. And here we are in 2021. I'm looking around like, God damn, like, has anything improved since 1996? I don't think so. I don't think so. We're the federal government is too incremental with addressing the climate change problem. And when I say addressing, I'm being very generous when I say addressing, because very clearly they're not addressing shit. And all the metrics are pointing towards us falling off a cliff rapidly. And help is not going to be forthcoming. I'm so terrified. Black Magic. You do not remember Alien Nation. I used to fuck with that show. On the low, I think I'm a bit of a sci-fi fan. I'm a sci-fi fan. Okay, who said they never seen Demolition Man? Big Teal. So Big Teal asks, is Demolition Man good? That is a relative question, my sir, my good man. Now, is it good in the sense of nostalgia? Perhaps. Is it good in the sense of casting? I would say yes. Is it good in the sense of, is this a quality shoot 'em up, blow 'em up, Sylvester Stallone with Wesley Snipes? I'm talking about Wesley Snipes in his prime Wesley Snipes. Now, granted, Wesley Snipes was dressed like Bart Simpson throughout the movie, blonde hair and all. But he's giving y'all really good bad guy. So I recommend Demolition Man, because that is one of those goofy movies that no matter what time of day or whatever's happening, if I happen to catch it on, I'm gonna sit there and watch it. Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra. Oh fuck! I was about. What's her name?
Sandra Bullock. But I would also say that it's notably great because it predicted a lot of things, right? Predicted Arnold Schwarzenegger. It didn't predict obviously he'd be the governor, but it
did actually
in some way.
Yes.
Well, it showed him as the president, so it didn't get the.
But I think they even mentioned that he was governor of California before he became president, if I'm not mistaken.
Fair enough. It predicted the restaurant wars and how Taco Bell would be the lone survivor. Which, if you see how they're like all upgrading their spots, it's becoming a little bit more snazzy, a little bit more. Maybe I don't go there in my sweatpants kind of environment.
Taco Bell?
I'm joking.
Dude, please don't tell me to eat. I was about to say, in the year of our Lord 2021, sir, are you still eating that Taco Bell?
No. But yeah,
so your innards are furious at you.
Yeah, they probably are. But yeah, it predicted a lot of things correctly. So yeah, major props to Demolition Man. Awesome movie.
And thank you for that, Tunde. And the other thing that Demolition Man semi-predicted was the rise of a new pandemic, right? But they in the movie framed it as like it would have been like a sexually transmitted sort of pandemic. They were like, after HIV, it was AZT. If there was EZT, it was ERQ. Or like, I mean, it was, and it's like, well, fuck, we did have a pandemic, did we not? So listen, Demolition Man, Big Teal, I recommend it. And like I said, it was Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes very much in their prime. And ladies, for my ladies and femmes out there who like hymns, Benjamin Bratt, young Benjamin Bratt. Yeah, when he was primo ass. Yes, Benjamin Bratt, young Benjamin Bratt. I recommend. Yeah. Demolition Man. There's that. Speaking of pandemic, wait a minute, hold on. Let me make sure I got rid of all my stuff. Wait, Molly said they blew up a building in Louisville that was in Demolition Man, really? And like MTV came and stuff. It was huge. Oh, that must have been exciting. I would have been excited by that, about in a Demolition Man. What'd you say to me, Jean-B? Jay Wendell Gordon. I'm sorry. Jesus. I'd be late. God damn it. Hold on. Wait. What time is it? 5:51. Shit, y'all. How did y'all let me go this whole show and not roll? No, bro. Slacking, man. Can I even count on y'all, man? Like, are y'all even dependable weed reminders out this bitch? I got questions. I'm wondering, because I'm disappointed it's 5:51 and nobody said shit. Looky here. Would you look at what we got here today on the Burn It Down with Kevin Brown program? Now, don't ask me what this shit is called, because I do not know. But this shit wasn't cheap. I can tell you that much. It did not come cheap with these pandemic inflation prices. For the love of Lord Jesus, even the weed man got hit with the pandemic inflation prices. I said, good sir, please, show mercy. This is my medicine. Are you going to deny a lady her medicine in this time of cholera and COVID? No. So wrong. So wait a minute, hold on, let me get my shit together, because I'm even reluctant, because you thought you was taking a break, right? No, Courtney. Darling, let me explain. We don't take breaks from weed, honey. We take break. We gotta take a break from us. We don't take breaks from weed. And listen, if I ever tell y'all, or ever like start besmirching weed and tell y'all, do you know, guys, you shouldn't really smoke marijuana, something is wrong, okay? Come check on me, for I have been co-opted. Something is amiss. If I ever start to talk negative about marijuana in a way that y'all know is wrong, send help. Send it immediately. Because no, me and weed been like this, man. We like this. Long time. So I'm sorry. If y'all got girl, let me explain. Rain to Sud said blazing seems to keep a plenty of people sane these days. Honey, let me take it a step further with you, Rain to Sud. I would challenge that smoking weed saves lives. So let me make that very clear. I think many a life has been ceased from being stolen because marijuana was in the picture. Marijuana said, now calm down. The marijuana said, now just take a second. Take a couple deep breaths. Take a couple deep puffs. You still mad? Okay. Now apologize for yelling. That's what weed does. You know, all that other shit, other shit gets people killed. Marijuana saves lives. I can personally attest that marijuana has probably stopped me. Well, I've never killed anybody, so there you go. Look, marijuana batting 1,000. Look at that. Unfadable. Record undefeated. But you know who is not batting 1,000? Hold on. Let me look at y'all in the comments. Y'all are hilarious. It is Medical in Maryland, Colin. And hey, Colin, that's a new name. Hey, hold on, y'all. I don't know if that math is mathing. That math ain't mathing. How many we got? 83 watching. I see 70 likes. Can we get them likes up just a smidge? Get them likes up just a smidge. And of course, some hater got to come through and hit me with the one thumbs down. Fucking trying to besmirch this stellar like to dislike ratio that we have on this program. Ladies and gentlemen and days, I'm not here for it. And I need y'all help. So hit me with some likes. It's funny, legal right here in Washington. Yes. Oh, listen, listen. The Maryland not being legal is a conversation of shame. It is so shameful. Let me explain to y'all. Don't ever let nobody tell y'all that Maryland is progressive. That is a goddamn lie. It is a lie of lies. And let me explain to y'all how, and part of the reason why it's such a terrible lie, because Virginia used to be home to the Confederacy. Everybody's aware of that, right? Like Richmond, Virginia, the capital of Virginia, used to be the capital of the Confederacy. Just to let y'all know where Virginia's starting point is, right? Virginia used to be conservative as fuck. Well, Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, either Governor Blackface or Governor Klan Hood, depending on which one you suspect was Ralph Northam. Ralph Northam said he was going to make all that shit up to black people. He said, listen, felons can vote. We can read the death penalty and legal marijuana. And meanwhile, Maryland, we stuck here with Governor White Citizens Council, Larry fucking Hogan, who has not made a single move on marijuana at all. And Virginia is going to have legalized marijuana before the state of Maryland. And when I tell y'all, it is a travesty of travesties. Oh, but the upside about Virginia having legal weed, and I know I'm way off topic, but I don't give a fuck. The upside about Virginia having weed is that now people from Maryland in DC who used to be terrified to drive in Virginia riding dirty, because Virginia state troopers, I think I mentioned this to y'all, we call them stormtroopers, and they would pounce upon weed, small amounts of weed. I mean, like sticks and stems level oppressed was the Virginia State Police. But now, dog, I mean, I don't know nobody moving no pounds through Virginia, but if you was going to move some pounds through Virginia, now is probably a great time to take up that endeavor. I can't find nothing to light with. ¿Tienes el fuego? Cada person, ¿tienes el fuego? I thought I had matches, and I cannot find my matches. Because y'all, this last story I want to get into, it's not sexy. Fuck, I don't even know if Bama's is talking about it. I don't even know if y'all pay attention to it, but I sure wish you would, because the coronavirus is out here, okay? And it continues to be out here. And the coronavirus is out here doing bad things. It is mutating, okay? Now, we had heard months ago about the UK variant and the Brazil variant. Now this Delta strain is causing a little bit of concern because it is supposedly more transmissible than the UK variant, and it will make you sicker than the UK variant, right? Which is bad because, contrary to what television tells me, television says America's wide open. Baseball parks are open at full capacity. Lots of places are just la 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 la. You know, business is normal, right? Business as usual. America is trying to get back to normal. Well, the earth and Mother Nature says, whoa, pump your brakes, not so fast. Today, if you could please, could you put up boop, 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 boop. Actually, hold on. Tunde, do me a favor. Can you put up B4 real quick? One last note about the climate crisis, y'all. The Party for Socialism and Liberation put this tweet up, and it's so simple yet so profound. I would be remiss if I didn't share it. The climate crisis is unsolvable under capitalism. Send tweet. Send tweet. The climate crisis is unsolvable under capitalism. Send tweet. And on that note, the climate disasters that we are seeing, experiencing, in that are soon to come, they are an opportunity to get rid of us, to get rid of the elderly, the sick, the poor, the people who do not have the resources nor the means to flee from a climate disaster or somehow be able to evade it. And if COVID-19 was not proof positive of that exact plan, baby, you were not paying close enough attention. Okay? COVID jumped on exactly, excuse me, my nose is running. COVID jumped on exactly whom America has the most contempt for. Old, sick, Black, brown, indigenous, immunocompromised, disabled. COVID did exactly that. And the climate crisis is going to hasten that exponentially. So if you fall into any one of those groups, it is time to be building with your community, man, because we need plans. We need action plans in place for old people, for disabled people, for poor people. Because fuck these rich fuckers. They're not going to be the only ones to survive this shit. And listen, Black and Indigenous and Latinx especially, motherfucker, we have survived this far, okay? We are not going to let climate disasters that we did not cause take us out without a fight or without a plan or without a movement or a strategy behind it. So it is time to be building with your community. Be watching us at Black Power Media, everybody, because if you follow Kalanji and Kamal and Jared, you understand that these survival elements for our community and for our comrades are so vital for us to know. And we are going to be sharing those kinds of lessons over on Black Power Media. So be sure to go over there and subscribe to that excellent slate of programming as well. But getting back to this Delta variant, hold on, let me explain something to y'all, okay? Now, the shit is so real. The shit is so real, y'all. Cities in Asia are beginning to shut down. You know that the, pardon me, the Olympics in Tokyo are coming up in a few short weeks. Tokyo said, skirt, Japan is closed. to foreigners who are not athletes, nope, y'all cannot come in because the COVID is not under control here. In Australia, the city of Sydney is under a lockdown for 2 weeks. And Molly, slack me real quick. What's going on in Europe? What's Europe up to? Europe shutting down, or Europe said, fuck it, we good. Molly's going to tell me what's going on in Europe. But you guys, here's the problem with the Delta variant. Let me tell y'all real quick. There is conflicting information from leading health organizations about whether or not, if you are vaccinated, you need to still wear a mask indoors. Market Watch, pop up that article from Tunde, from the good people at Market Watch. Let me read this to you. The World Health Organization is emphasizing its position that even fully vaccinated people should continue to wear face masks in public, given the risk presented by the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is currently racing across the world. Quote, people cannot feel safe just because they had 2 doses. Jesus, they still need to protect themselves, according to Dr. Mariangela Simao, who is from the World Health Organization. They are the Assistant Director General for Access to Medicines and Health Products, told reporters last week. So here's the issue. Wait a minute. Here's some more about the variant, because that shit's important. That shit is important. It says that the Delta variant is now present in 92 countries. It has the potential to become more lethal than the other variants because of the ease in which it is transmitted. And the agency, the World Health Organization, stance on face masks puts it at odds with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which has dropped that requirement as more Americans are vaccinated and cases fall. So there is no question in my mind that the vaccines that have been really readily available to Americans, they got to be working, right? Because the amount of people that are dying from coronavirus, from COVID-19, is down significantly, especially over the past year. I think in the month of May, I think 18,000 people died, according to statistics from coronavirus. Now, that little part that I just mentioned to y'all is rather significant. The World Health Organization is telling fully vaccinated people that you may not have full protection against this Delta variant, even if you have 2 doses of vaccine. Pause. Time out. What? Now, it should shock no one if you even have a cursory knowledge of how virology works, right? Virus job is to mutate. Virus is supposed to be 2 steps ahead of motherfuckers. Like, that's the whole virus raison d'etre, to stay alive, right? To not be defeated. So I'm not super surprised that the Delta variant could break through people who are doubly vaccinated, or at least once. And in fact, I think it was a very small percentage. I want to say 0.8%, less than 1% of the cases of people who died from coronavirus in the United States in the month of May, 0.8% of them were vaccinated. So a very small percent, less than 1%. And I think that is a relatively acceptable rate, unfortunately, of the virus the vaccination failing, right? We all know all vaccinations are not 100%. So it doesn't shock me to hear this information, but it's a problem when the Centers for Disease Control is sort of like, hey, this is a big deal, but you as Americans don't need to change anything about your behavior. That's where I'm sort of having a problem. And I want us to take a look, if we could, from an NBC News interview with the director of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, where she talks about the Delta variant and she complains about the levels of vaccination in the country, but that's pretty much where she leaves it. Like, there was no other guidance forthcoming from the CDC about what to do with this Delta variant. And today, Rochelle Walensky talking loud and kind of saying nothing.
This is a variant that we've been following closely around the world and now here in the United States. What we know about when viruses mutate and create these variants is they tend to do so with some advantage to the virus. And in this case, we're seeing that advantage manifest in a way that it is more transmissible. Now what we're finding is this Delta variant is even more transmissible than the UK variant. So not only is it more transmissible, but there is some concern that it actually may lead to more severe illness. So we're watching that really carefully.
What does this mean for people who are fully vaccinated?
The data that we have so far demonstrate that our mRNA vaccines, if you've received both doses, they should work really well against the Delta variant. There are early data now from the UK that if you've only received one dose, it may not be as protective. So we really are encouraging everybody to not only get the first dose of that vaccine, but also get the second dose of that vaccine. The AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK also looks like it's protective against severe and deadly disease. We're looking at and examining the data for the J&J vaccine here. Given how similar it is to the AstraZeneca vaccine, we're anticipating it will also be working well for severe and deadly disease. What worries me most is we have pockets of this country that are less vaccinated than others.
I hope that you don't live in a pocket of this country that has less vaccine immunity in the community than other places. And most importantly, and today, if you could pop up C1 for me, please. Y'all, and maybe we're not as mixed about this as we were. Aaron, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for that. Who else just dropped us some bucks? Chuck Diesel, thank you, darling. Chuck Diesel said, Kim, when are you going to spark that J? I'm babysitting. You right about that, Chuck Diesel? There we go. Yeah. Are we getting there? We about there. Damn it, Chuck Diesel, you hit me with the peer pressure. I can't remember what the fuck I was about to say, Chuck Diesel. When it comes to this, okay. I did forget what I was about to say. God damn it. We was watching Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Oh, this is my thing. Here's the problem. Now, what she didn't say, Tune, did you pop up the article for me? All right, y'all. So a couple of things. This is now. Okay, I'm back on track now. Shit. Yeah, y'all thought that was gonna fuck me up, but I'm back now, niggas. All right. Now, I know the issue of the vaccine was semi-controversial amongst this crowd because we had some people that was firmly against the vaccine. There was people that had sort of delayed in getting the vaccine. There's people that got the vaccine right away. There was people who straight up unsubscribed from my channel because they're like, "Are you talking about vaccine shit?" I was like, okay, cool. I've already had this conversation with y'all about tuberculosis and fucking what's the shit? Not shingles. What's the shit? Oh, polio. I guess shingles too, depending on your demographic, right? I get it. Tuskegee, yes, I understand. Listen, I live in proximity to Johns Hopkins University. Do y'all want to know the stories that old Baltimoreans tell about Johns Hopkins, how they used to snatch niggas off the street and do experiments on them? I get it. I get it. All the mistrust in the medical community from Black and brown people is valid as fuck. I understand that. But that was in non-pandemic times, my niggas and my niggerettes. This is pandemic time, okay? We saw, and I'm gonna say it, 900,000 to 1 million people in our country get ravaged by this disease. Please do not front on this shit, man. I don't know what else COVID has to do to prove to you that it will fuck you up. Even if, and I know there's some people that caught the COVID, was asymptomatic, and nothing happened yet. And I really hope that yet does not become a definite for those people. But the fact of the matter is, this is a novel virus. This is a new virus. We do not know enough about how this virus behaves, how to kill it. We still ain't figured that shit out because COVID is still out here doing its thing, mutating every chance that it gets. And leveling up in its mutation, right? Like I have yet to hear a mutation that they say, oh, you know, this strain of the virus is not as strong as the last strain. No, this bitch keeps getting stronger. Northern Witch. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. It is not the time for play. And as you guys see, nearly all US COVID deaths are among unvaccinated people. Damn near everybody that is catching COVID and dying from COVID now are people who have not been vaccinated. And y'all, I'm just saying, don't go out like that, okay? And I mean that. Because here's the thing. When you take your babies to the pediatrician and they giving your babies all the shit. I don't know what the fuck they give babies. I'm sure they give babies a lot of shit. Smallpox, that's got to be in there, right? Measles, mumps, rubella, bam. Sade, you wouldn't even think about not giving your infant vaccinated for the measles? What? That sounds like lunacy. And I understand people talk about, oh, well, they got the vaccine out too quick. No, nigga, no. That's not how the science works. And trust me, I am not a rah-rah cisboo bitch for the CDC, nor am I it for the medical establishment in general. But as I have told y'all before, enough white people have been getting this goddamn vaccination. So I think Black people and other non-white folks, we can relax a little bit because they done gave this shit to enough white people. I'm telling you, I highly doubt, because I can't say never because you can't put shit past the United States government ever, never. But I highly doubt they could target that vaccine to fuck up specifically non-white folks at this point. So I said that to say, please, for love of Jesus, y'all can't be out here playing because this Delta variant might be the one, shawty. Like if you thought that the regular COVID-19 was, if you rolled the dice and you wanted to, spin that wheel and, what other sort of gambling cliches I can sort of lay out here regarding your life, dog. I don't know what else COVID has to prove to you, shorty. Like, I don't know. Like COVID it's killed kids. It's killed so many old people. It's killed a lot of people, middle-aged, relatively healthy, even some younger people, 20s and 30s and younger. But let's also not discount the amount of people that COVID has disabled, okay? A lot of people are dealing with chronic, ongoing, long-term shit that they have never dealt with before prior to having this virus. And even if you survive COVID, I assure you, those are not the kind of problems that you want. Those are not the kind of problems that you want. So I said that to say, like, COVID is still out here jumping on people. And for the people who remain unvaccinated, COVID seems to be killing them exclusively. And I am of concern that if enough people don't get vaccinated, then the variant can mutate, or the shit can mutate to a point where it renders the vaccination ineffective. And then we are back damn near at square one, right? Because imagine all the tens of thousands of people. Where are we at? Half the country, 150 million people at least have received one dose of the vaccination, somewhere in that neighborhood. Man, listen, imagine if all them people got vaccinated and that shit was ineffective next year. But not enough people got vaccinated, so the virus kept mutating and kept staying a step ahead of the Bamas that make vaccines. I mean, y'all, there are some things that we can't prevent, and I'm not even saying, like I just laid out that very minuscule but not insignificant statistic that 0.8% of the people who died from COVID in May had gotten the vaccination, right? Like that's sort of just the risk that we accept with all vaccines, all of them joints, y'all, all of them joints. Because I say it again, I got to put it in the context of the kids, because people be thinking about themselves. Like I had a friend who was somewhat, pro-health, I suppose, took care of themselves, etc. Like myself, never got a flu shot. I probably will never get the flu shot. But this friend gave their children the flu shot, right? But when I asked this person, I said, but you won't take the flu shot. Why didn't you give your kid the flu shot? And they were sort of stuck, like, oh, well, damn, I was just sort of thinking about myself in that respect. They got their kid the flu shot because, I guess, anyway, I don't know. But my point being is, think about it from that perspective, I suppose, from the perspective of your children. Like, there is shit that that you would not forego making sure your kids got. And considering the fact that the vaccine is not available for kids under 12, man, listen, please go get the vaccine, because that's the other scary part that's actually not being discussed enough out here. Like, for kids who get COVID and survive COVID, like think about what the long-term effects are going to be for them, because they're going to deal with it the longest, right? The younger you are and survive COVID, that's a lifetime of potentially unknown long-term symptoms that could affect very important organs in your body. Heart, lungs, brain, kidneys, shit. I need all them shits, all of them. I need them working top notch at all times. You don't want your kids to get the shit. So please, anyway, are y'all out here laughing at me? Because all I'm seeing is a bunch of crying ass emojis in the chat. And I'm in confusion, but I'm going to try to play it cool like I know what's going on. But I don't. What did Molly say? Molly said, we are still on like partial lockdown, but things are open if you have negative tests within 24 hours. You have to wear masks everywhere, though. That is the report coming straight out of Europe. Molly Shaw on the scene. Let us know. Y'all, it's not a game out here. Don't let all this shit America's advertising to you fool you, okay? Like, America's open, the rest of the world said not so fast. And you know what? When it comes to doing shit correctly from a health perspective, I tend to side with the rest of the world and not this dumbass shithole country that I live in that can't seem to do anything right when it comes to public health, public safety, or at minimum, healthcare for everybody. Don't trust America. Don't let America fool you into this propaganda dream that we are wide open and ready for business. Nope. Delta variant might come through, shut all that shit down. So you need to be prepared. And I'm going to tell it, go get vaccinated. If niggas unsubscribe, fuck it. It's like, I'm tired. Nobody gets smallpox no more. Nobody gets tuberculosis. Nobody gets motherfucking polio. Niggas don't even get scurvy no more. I mean, come on. I'm tired. I need us to do the right thing. I need us to be smart out here. And trust me, Trust me, I wish the CDC would run me a check to tell y'all to go get vaccinated, but they not. But here's the other thing. I would never tell y'all to do some shit that I wouldn't do. And I went and got that shit. Why? Why did I get the vaccine? Because I saw too many stories of COVID jumping on people in my age range. Hello, early 40s. I seen COVID jumping on early 40s, people healthy as fuck. And I said, well, you know, I too am early 40s, relatively healthy as fuck. And trust me, laid up in the hospital for weeks, possibly on a ventilator, honey, does not sound like my idea of a good time. COVID scared me good and well. Good and well. And I'm concerned about those who are not as scared of COVID as I think y'all probably should be. So anyway, I know, hopefully I'm preaching to the choir. Thank you, Schultze 100. I appreciate y'all's support, and thank you so much for letting me rant on my weed rant. And on that note, I shall conclude today's program. Now, guys, let me give y'all a heads up. So Tunde said, fuck y'all niggas, I got better shit to do. So Tunde's going to not be here next week. So we are going to be off until the 13th of July, but we might have a show Friday. And so we're kicking around a couple things. So we got to see first, maybe Dwayne will be nice and come run the show for us. That's an option. So if Dwayne be's nice, so y'all go to Ben Dixon show tomorrow morning and y'all type in the chat, Dwayne. Y'all make special requests for Dwayne to come run the show Friday. What you say, Tunde?
I can put the rest of those rumors. Dwayne will be indeed running the show on Friday. But we also have something special lined up for you guys next week. So
next week?
Yeah, it's okay. You forgot we talked about it, but it's all good. Did you mute yourself or something? Oh, can't hear you anymore, Kim. All right, hold on. Maybe I did something. Uh-oh, did you unplug your mic? Yeah, I'm not getting any audio from you, Kim. Sorry. All right. Don't know what happened here. Maybe the weed just. Oh, there you go.
I know. I remember we talked about it, but I just come around.
Oh, can
you hear me now?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I unplugged the microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Now. Excellent. You there? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. This is what happens when you do shit live. I love it, by the way. It probably drives Tunde up the wall. But I am here for all the live shenanigans and shit that happens. You know why? Because I do this and I don't be giving a fuck. And I smoke weed and y'all are with it, which is the most important fucking thing. Like, if y'all didn't get it, well, then this would be pointless. But y'all get it, so there's a point to it. So that's awesome. So Tunde said that we might be doing something special next week. So I take back whatever the fuck I said last. Dwayne will be doing be running the show on Friday, and next week we are going to try to do something that perhaps could be inclusive of some of you guys, where those who would be interested in participating visually can do so with the show, or we'll be smoking together. We can smoke together. Anyway, Be looking out for our community post on the YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe so you can be in the know about the shit that we're doing next week, which is different than what we normally do. So there's that. So anyway, thank you all so much for everything. Thank you, Chuck Diesel. Thank you, Anna Hart. Y'all are so funny, man. I'm so glad that y'all get it. We got a new one, moon meat. Nigga, what is moon meat? Moon meat sounds fascinating. What is that? Black Magic, thank you so much, darling. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Afraid Not. Thank you, Schultze. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you a couple times. And y'all are amazing, and I appreciate all that you do. Gypsy Mama, Northern Witch, y'all are the best. So we will see y'all Friday. Lovely. So enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Please stay safe, stay cool out here, and please, like I just said, don't forget, COVID still out here jumping on people. Don't want it to jump on you. So do what you need to do. Wash your hands, wear your masks. Don't believe the hype. Get your vaccination and be right. I love y'all so much. See y'all later. Mwah.